Okay, we are here for Game 5, our final game in this league. We have won the die roll, and we would like to play first. This is a 3-land hand. We've got a Ravenous Intruder, we've got a Pia's Revolution, a Shrapnel Blast, and a Terrarian. This is a pretty solid hand. I think we can keep this. We're not going to play the Terrarian turn 1, I don't think. I think we're going to just try to get our fetching in the way here. We're playing against our opponent, Fleet Farmer. I like to shout out my opponents at the beginning of every game. Let's see what our opponent does. Opponent has a Forest for a Birds of Paradise. Classic. Forced into birds. We'll go ahead and fetch now and get a Blood Crypt tapped. Goes back to us. We'll play our Darksteel Citadel here, and I think we're going to play our Ravenous Intruder and pass back to our opponent. Opponent could be playing something like Mono Green Devotion, which is a pretty solid deck, really explosive deck. Plays another Forest. Opponent is playing a looks like a Ponza Blood Moon deck, which is okay. Because most of our deck actually is red mana. Does cut us off from casting this Disciple of the Vault next turn. We draw another Darksteel Citadel. I think we're happy to cast it. We're going to cast our Terrarian. These still count as artifacts. Oddly enough, even under Blood Moon, these still count as artifact lands. So I think what we'll do is attack, and I think we will sacrifice one of our Darksteel Citadels. We want to save one, I think, because we want to hold up Shrapnel Blast if we can during his turn. So we're just going to attack for 3. Actually, Blood Moon makes Darksteel Citadel better, now that I think about it. Because we're not really worried about it being indestructible. We're kind of happy that it actually produces red mana now. Opponent has Chandra, so he could use Chandra to kill our Intruder. And it looks like he is. We could sacrifice some of our artifacts here to save him, but I don't think we're going to. I think we'd rather keep those artifacts to do stuff with. So we're gonna let the Intruder die, and end of turn we're gonna Shrapnel Blast him, and we're gonna sacrifice the Citadel because we need the Terrarian to cast our Disciple of the Vault. We're not gonna redirect it to Chandra. I mean, obviously, killing a Planeswalker is nice, but we want to deal this 5 damage to him. We drew an ATOG. Fortunately, we do have to pay the 2 life for Blood Crypt. We are going to sacrifice to add a black and a red. We'll draw a card off the Terrarian. We get another land. We'll go ahead and cast the Disciple of the Vault, and we will pass the turn. Now, unfortunately, we are out of artifacts to sacrifice to ATOG and Disciple of the Vault, but if we draw into some more, this is going to give us a little bit of a reach. But Blood Moon is actually kind of interesting with Darksteel Citadels. He's adding 2 mana with Chandra. Looks like he's going to get to ramp into something good here. Possibly an Acid Moss or an Acidic Slime. That would suck. He's going to Stone Rain our land. Sure. See if he's got another Stone Rain that he can cast. Does have the mana for it. He's got a Tireless Tracker. Has he played a land this turn? I don't think he has. Yeah, so he's going to get the Tireless Tracker. And he has an Arbor Elf. So he's down to his last card. We get an Implement of Combustion, which is good. Let's go ahead and get our ATOG on the table. And we'll pass the turn. Opponent has the Utopia Sprawl. So he has all the mana he could possibly want. So it kind of depends on what his last card is. Gonna activate Chandra. Let's see what he gets. Got a Beast Within. I would assume that he uses it. Yeah, it looks like he is. He may use it to destroy one of my lands. No, he's gonna use it on the ATOG. And that's fine. We get a 3/3 out of it. Opponent plays a land. Gonna get a clue out of it. Opponent is going to attack. I could block here and try to trade, but he has the mana open to sacrifice clues to pump his guy up. So we're not going to. We're just going to take the damage. I assume he sacrifices his clue to do a little bit more damage to it. Nope, going to save his clue. He just deals 3 to us. We draw another land, which is just a mountain. It's not a fetch land. Oh, right. Clues are artifacts, and if he sacrifices them, then our Disciple of the Vault gets to hit him for damage. I keep forgetting about how cool that is. I think what we're going to do here is we're going to cast Pia's Revolution. Opponent's reading the card. Needs to know what it does. Alright. And we'll attack with our Beast, our Beastly Beast. Actually, we're going to attack Chandra. And that may force him to block here. He's going to block with his Arbor Elf. Going to untap his Forest in the process. Assuming that means he wants to try to sacrifice his clues at the end of my turn. Little does he know that Disciple of the Vault will damage him for doing so. Maybe he does know that. Maybe he absolutely knows that. But I'm still happy to get the damage on him anyway. Opponent is sacrificing his clues. Now he knows that the Disciple of the Vault damages him for doing that. And gonna do it again. Yes. And yes. Bazinga. Another topical reference that I just made about the Big Bang Theory. Bazinga. That's the thing that Sheldon says. That show is very funny. Opponent has his tireless trackers. Gonna get another clue token because he played another land. Opponent's going to use his Chandra again. Now he gets a... I'm not even sure how you pronounce that because it's MW Mwanvoli Acid Moss. We're just going to call it Acid Moss. Does he use it to destroy a land or does he use it to just deal 2 damage to us? I personally would just deal the 2 damage to us. Opponent is a Hunt Master of the Fells or Funk Master of the Smells as I like to call him. Gets his little wolf token. He also gains 2 life. Opponent's coming across for 5. No way we can block that, unfortunately. We are at 7. Opponent plays another Arbor Elf. He is now Hellbent, no cards in hand. Passes to us. And we draw a Terrarian, which is unfortunately not something we can sacrifice, but we can cast a Implement of Combustion, and we can sack the Implement. Alright. Draw a card off the Implement. Draw another Terrarian. He has to choose whether or not he wants to allow us to have it back to our hand. He allows it. Takes the 1 from the Disciple, and we will not be redirecting the Implement of Combustion. Alright, now we will play the Terrarian. And let's see, are we just dead? We can block the Tireless Tracker. We take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That puts us at 2. Yeah, I think we go 1 more turn. Oh no, he's got Chandra too. And Chandra can just deal 2 damage to us. Yeah, I think we're dead. But we're gonna pass it to our opponent and see what he does. Well, we're not just dead because we can also block with the Disciple of the Vault. But if we block with the Disciple of the Vault, that basically means we're dead because we don't have a way to kill our opponent on our turn. Let's see what the opponent does with Chandra. He's got a Wooded Foothills, so yeah, he's going to choose to deal 2 damage to us. And he has a Stormbreath Dragon, which kills us. It's a dragon, so we're gonna concede there. Alright, what are we bringing in against this guy? Natural State doesn't seem bad. We can kill his Blood Moons, which don't really affect us that bad, but they kind of do. And he might have some other stuff that he wants to bring in against us. It also lets us destroy Utopia Sprawls, which prevent him from ramping. I don't think we bring in Molten Rains for that reason, though. Anger the Gods might be good. Actually, Anger of the Gods seems pretty good. He has a lot of 1-drops. He could have some sort of life gain that we're worried about, like a Thragtusk or something like that, but I don't think we bring in the Tainted Remedies. He doesn't seem like he has anything graveyard related. And honestly, I don't know if discard is all that good. Fatal Push is definitely something that we want, though. We definitely want more removal spells. So, what do we not want? I think we'll cut a couple of Pio's Revolutions, and we'll cut the Inquisitions. I think we're just going to go completely out on discard, and just all in on, proactive spells. Actually, you know what? I think we're just going to cut the all the Pio's Revolutions. I'm not super sold on this card. I liked it for this deck just because it had some synergy. But I'm thinking that it's not going to make the final cut in this deck. So we'll go ahead and play the deck like this. Who would like to play first? This is a 1-lander. This sure is a 1-lander. It sure is a Tuesday, as Kathy would say. She would also say, "Arg." That's a topical reference about Kathy, the Sunday morning comic strip. Yeah, I think we'll keep this. We can cast most of what's in our hand. It's not great, but I think we can keep it. Opponent mulligans. Mulligans to 6. So we'll play our Blood Crypt, take the 2 life from it, and we'll go ahead and Disciple of the Vault, pass the turn. Now, if our opponent plays a Arbor Elf or a Birds of Paradise on turn 1, we may actually Fatal Push it, just to prevent him from ramping up. But it doesn't look like he has either of those things, so he passes back to us. We get an Atog. Let's see. I think what we're going to do is play the Implement of Combustion. We could play the Terrarian, but we don't have the mana to sacrifice it. At least this way, next turn, we can sacrifice the Implement if we don't draw a land card so we can get to another land. But we'll go ahead and attack with our Disciple. Opponent's at 19, and we'll pass the turn back to him. Opponent has a Windswept Heat, gets a Forest, but not playing anything. Could suggest that he has a removal spell. We draw a Ravenous Intruder. I think what we're going to do is attack with the Disciple of the Vault. See if he has a removal spell. He does not. He may still, but We're going to go ahead and sacrifice the Implement of Combustion. Just trying to dig for that land. Still did not draw a land. That is unfortunate. Unfortunate. So we will pass the turn back to our opponent. Opponent plays Blood Moon. We are totally fine with that. We are totes fine with that, in fact. Does mean that we don't really have the ability to cast this Fatal Push, but we do have a Terrarian to eventually cast it if we need it. You know, if we ever draw another land. We drew a Natural State. Doesn't really help us. We're going to cast another Implement of Combustion, and we will attack our opponent for 1. Our opponent is running Stone Rains, however, which having a 1-land hand against Stone Rains is a really bad idea. But we'll see how quickly he gets to his removal spells. He did prioritize Blood Moon over a Stone Rain, which I think would have been incorrect if he had had one. Opponent has another Windswept Heath. Gonna play a Funk Master of the Smells. Gets his 2 life and a Wolf token. Passes back to us. We're going to continue to not draw lands. Let's sacrifice our Combustion Implement. Get our Disciple of the Vault trigger. Still not drawing lands. We're going to end up going to our discard phase. Obviously can't attack. That also means that he's going to get to flip his Hunt Master, because we didn't get to cast a spell this turn. And what else do we discard? Let's say Implement of Ferocity. Sure. Opponent gets to flip his Hunt Master. Shooting our Disciple of the Vault, and attacking for 6, of course. Yeah, we didn't draw a land out of about 5 draw steps. If you combine the actual draw steps plus all of our artifacts that we've sacrificed. So yeah, we kind of got shot. We kind of got shot in this game. So we're probably not going to win, but we'll stick it out, see how it goes. Sure, we'll play another Implement of Combustion, and we'll pass the turn. Opponent attacks for 6. We are at 4, and we didn't draw another land. So, we definitely did not draw any lands through a lot of this league, which really did hurt us. And that's kind of the gamble that you make whenever you play a deck that runs 20 lands. But we're going to extend a handshake to our opponent, give him the GG, and we're going to concede. Unfortunately, that means we are 2-3, which is respectable. I think that we could have done a little bit better if we had mulliganed a little bit more aggressively. We get some play points out of it, so we'll use those play points to get some more free plays. You know, the general verdict I have on this deck is that it's cool, it's a fun deck, it's a little off the beaten path. It kind of reminds me of playing, like, Eggs meets Aristocrats. Like, if you've ever played the Aristocrats deck with, like, Blood Artist and Zulaport Cutthroat and stuff like that. It's kind of like a combination of those two decks, and that's fun. It's a fun deck. I think I would probably cut Pia's Revolution, and maybe change the land base a little bit, not sure. But otherwise, I think this is a really cool deck, and it's a very budget-friendly deck. You know, obviously I'm running shock lands and fetch lands, so that does add a little bit of price to the deck, but the majority of what makes this deck tick is cards that cost, you know, 1/10 of a ticket. I think you could probably build a version of this deck for, I don't know, maybe $5 if you really wanted it. And, you know, if you wanted to invest some better stuff into it later, you obviously have the option to do so. So I think it's a cool deck. It's fun to build. I had fun playing it. But that's the league for this week. Again, if you enjoy these videos, please give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos in the future, please subscribe to Legit Games on YouTube. And again, you know, I don't want to beg for money, but obviously we need money in order to continue making these videos. And if you feel like donating to the channel, supporting it financially, we do have a link to Patreon, and you'll find it in the description below. But that's it, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.